Well, hi, Gorlane, and welcome to today's LinkedIn Live. I'm so glad you're here with me today. And our audience, whether you're joining live or watching the replay, thank you for being here with us. Please feel free to share your thoughts and questions on the chat board. And so, as we reach the midpoint of the year, many of us feel the summer heat. And but more importantly, July is National Minority Mental Health Awareness Month. And as a woman from two different cultural backgrounds, I care deeply about this subject. And so does my guest, Gurlane. And I'm so excited to welcome my guest, Gurlane Belazar, who is a passionate proponent of philanthropy and a champion of diversity, equity, and inclusion. Welcome, Gurlane.
Thank you, Fury. Thank you so much for inviting me. You're right. Very, very passionate about diversity, equity, and inclusion, about mental health, about giving back, about helping. So it's an honor and a privilege to be here with you and can't wait for our conversation.
Yes. So, Gurlane, can you tell us a bit about your journey as a diversity and inclusion advocate? What inspired your work? What inspires you every day in your personal life? Yes.
Big question, big juicy question. I'll start with what inspires me. What inspires me every day is to wake up and commit to having some type of a positive impact.
I'm sorry.
To giving back to the world, to learning, to growing, to sharing. And in terms of diversity, equity, and inclusion, I feel like that has always been part of my DNA. Always really felt the importance of celebrating diversity and the importance of lifting and including everybody. My background is in biology and science, so really appreciating diversity in all of its form, not just its humans form. But in terms of professionally, at my current position, I walk in my first day and I'm invited to join our employee resource group, which was focused on diversity, equity, and inclusion, and just fell in love. And my colleagues saw that passion and love and continued to ask me to delve deeper. And then ultimately, I was given the privilege to lead our diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts. And I have to say that has been one of the most important events in my career and something that will shape me from now until I'm no longer here.
Thank you for sharing that. When we say cultural inclusion, what does that mean to you personally and professionally, but more personally? Yeah.
Personally, I'll start. I love words, so words are very important to me. And I'll start with just the term culture. Like culture is big. It covers so much. It's language. It's religion. It's ritual, it's behavior. It covers a wide swath. So we'll start with that place. And when I cultural inclusivity for me means that all cultures are respected. No matter what that means for you, all cultures are respected, all cultures are seen, all cultures are welcomed, right? For me, that's what inclusivity means. It's really this wide open arm of welcome. We accept you just as you are with all your various identities that make up what we consider culture.
Absolutely. I also want to ask you a little bit about your unique story of being a Haitian woman, and what. Maybe share a little bit about your personal culture. Yeah.
Well, I straddle two cultures. So my parents emigrated from Haiti to the United States, and so I was born in the United States. So there's the Haitian, that's the background culture, and then there's the American culture. And so I wasn't born in Haiti, so I'm not so steeped in what that means, and yet I'm not fully American as well too. So it's been this interesting journey of combining the two.
The household that you're born in is your start. It's where you start your journey, right?
Exactly. It's where I started. Literally. I mean, up until the point I was 5 years old, all I spoke was French. That's what I spoke. And then the American school system said, no, it doesn't serve her to speak two languages. She needs to speak one language. Now we know that's not true, but certainly having to make these choices as to what is it, the Haitian, is it the American? But being here, that is the culture, whatever that means, that
Yeah,
predominated. But it continues to be sometimes a bit of a tension for me.
yeah.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, with that background,
Hmm.
in currently in your, current experiences, what are some of the biggest gaps you see when it comes to diversity and inclusion in workplace or in
Hmm.
your personal life, especially for underrepresented and marginalized communities who
Hmm.
really are, looking for somewhere to belong, or they come from different parts of the world to
Hmm.
United States, and they want to build those bridges, and they want to really belong to a
Yeah.
community.
Indeed. I mean, belonging is a fundamental human need. We all need it. Without it, your humanity suffers in some way. So that's really, really key. And in
Yeah,
terms of what I'm seeing at this particular point in time, one of the big words, big lessons, if you will, big tenets of diversity, equity, and inclusion is psychological safety. Like that is key. That's the foundation
yeah,
of a really of an inclusive culture is to build trust. And trust is very delicate. It's very tender. It takes a long time to build trust, and it
yeah,
can go away in an instant. And so as I see the pushback that's happening with diversity, equity, and inclusion in the United States, my heart breaks because I can feel that trust coming apart.
yeah,
To trust that an organization said, I believe in this, and then something shifts, and all of a sudden, sometimes without any warning, that diversity, equity, and inclusion, that safety net, that place of belonging is no longer there.
yeah. Even the most well-meaning organization often makes a common mistake when trying to
Mhm.
support employee well-being across culture.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Indeed.
I've seen
Indeed.
that myself. I was in corporate America for 10 years, and
Mhm. Mhm.
as a woman from a different two different cultures, I felt that. Yeah.
Indeed.
You really try your best to belong. You
Yeah.
really try your best to trust the system, but
Exactly.
sometimes things fell apart, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
as a champion of diversity, equity, and inclusion,
Mhm.
what would you recommend to organizations that are looking to add employee benefits that are
Mhm.
culturally competent?
Yeah. I will say this. There isn't one size fits all. That's true for diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I think it's also true for culture. And
Yep.
to no culture is a monolith, right? Again, culture encompasses a lot of different identities. And
Yeah.
one of the lessons we learned from intersectionality is that we're all made up of different identities. So there isn't just this monolith. So I would say, in terms of creating a culturally inclusive culture, is to be mindful of that, to be mindful that each human being is different, and therefore to really have conversations, literally have conversations with everyone. And also the notion of inclusivity means that you're creating with, you're not creating for. So it's not standing aside and just saying, oh, well, these are the cultures we have.
Parenting. You're
Yeah,
not parenting.
exactly. You're not. It's a conversation you're having adult to adult and really hearing people. You can do a survey if you like, and the survey has questions. There's also an opportunity for it to be qualitative. So you have conversations. Like the basis of trust, the basis of relationship is communication. So really being committed to communicating with your staff and communicating often, right? Because people change, circumstances change. Your business was born during COVID. That changed everything. And in the United States, things are changing rapidly. I mean, one of the words I hear, two words I hear often in the last 7 months of this year is turbulence and also change and burnout. And I think part of burnout is that there's so much changing so quickly. You don't, this nervous system doesn't have time to really settle down. So make sure that you're communicating, and you're communicating often, and you're communicating one-on-one as much as possible.
Yeah. And wouldn't you say that leaders and HR professionals play a fundamental role in creating that psychological safety and that, feeling of belonging and, everything that you said? I
Mhm.
mean, leaders have, the roles, the fundamental responsibilities to bring people together and, welcome that. uh,
Mhm. Mhm.
Welcome all these, little ideas.
Indeed. Indeed.
So, what are some of the biggest gaps you see when it
Mhm.
comes to diversity and inclusion in the workplace, especially for underrepresented and marginalized communities?
For me, it really is, it goes back to the communications. It really does go back to really having constant conversation about what is needed at a particular time.
Yeah,
Checking in with people is so key. What do you need now?
yeah,
What are circumstances that are maybe unique to you that we don't see? Like, part of privilege is that you physically cannot see. It's hard to imagine what somebody else is going through if you're not going through it yourself. So that's where communication comes in, to really ask those questions, like, what is life looking like for you now, and what is it that you need, especially now in the context we're living in, with
hmm,
burnout being rampant, with the level of loneliness being rampant, like, to really communicate, and do so with gentleness and with respect.
Oh, I
That's
love gentleness and respect. Yes, I so love that. So, employee resource groups or DEI councils, do you think they should open their umbrella of care and be more intentional contributors to
Mhm.
more inclusivity and diverse wellness initiatives? What would you say?
That's been my experience. Like, and that seems to me what birth employee resource groups, right? Was really to have a group of people who have a particular belief, or share a common identity, or share a common belief system, to come
Mhm.
together and support each other, and then share what they learn with the larger organization. Or maybe these are the things that you don't see. These are the things that collectively we need, and we want to share that with you, because there may be other groups who have the same need as well too. So just by, I mean, community is so key. Even when we talk about mental health, there is something very healing about being in community, about having conversations, about building community where you feel a sense of psychological trust, and you can be your true self. I think for me, I've always found it very fortifying, and then I can go and be bigger and be more confident, be bolder in my role as an employee, as a person, as a friend, as a sister, as a human being.
Woman,
Yeah, as a woman, especially as a woman. Yes. Mhm.
yeah, we wear so many hats.
Exactly. We all do. We all wear many hats, right? Mhm.
So I want to talk a little bit about framework and action steps. So
Mhm.
are there any frameworks or tools
Mhm.
based on your background that you would recommend for assessing whether an organization's mental health support is truly inclusive?
I mean, I have to go back to communications. And I say this too. I remember during COVID,
Yeah.
I was working with an organization, and so all of a sudden they were offering yoga classes, they were offering meditation classes, and this was all online and through Zoom. And attendance, this was a large organization, hundreds of people, and attendance was consistently low, like maybe 10 people at a time. And I remember having a conversation with HR, and this person in HR was very upset. He said, like, here we are, we're offering all these wonderful resources, and just 10 people show up. What is that about? And I thought to myself, well, did you have a conversation? Did you have a survey? Did you ask people what they want? Or did you just make, again, making a decision with, not for. When you make a decision for, then I think people feel that energy and there's a resistance. Did you ask? Did you invite people to participate in what it is that they need to feel healing? So making sure that you have a survey, at the very least, a survey. What we should,
yeah,
it's a
making a two-way
conversation.
conversation,
Exactly. Exactly.
bringing everyone together to decide.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Because while meditation and yoga, I mean, those are things that were personally important to me and part of my toolkit even before, when we're talking 20, 30 years ago. So that was important to my practice. But that doesn't necessarily mean that everybody in this organization was interested in that. But to have that communication and open up the possibility of what healing might look like, that's
When
important.
we think about it, men and women, they have different wants and needs. And,
Mhm.
women
Indeed.
might like yoga and meditation, but men might like golf or something.
Exactly. Or
Like,
exercising or doing burpees or whatever, like whatever it takes, but you don't know. And even for me, I might have been interested in something that I thought I would not be interested in because it was an option. But if you don't have that conversation and you make decisions for people, I
yeah,
think you're going to get that lack of response, and then that doesn't help with HR being disillusioned, like, oh, we're never going to do this again. Well,
yeah,
okay, learn from it and then decide what can we do differently so that we increase participation, because that's what we ultimately want, right? We want to foster organizational well-being. But what does that mean for the organization and the people in it?
and find those, specific, pain points.
Exactly.
Like, you just said
Yeah.
burnout is a
Yeah.
pain, loneliness is a pain point. I mean, these are very common in modern
Indeed.
societies, especially
Indeed.
in this day and age. And,
Exactly.
you know,
Exactly.
and then on top of it, think about cultural competence and cultural
Indeed.
inclusivity,
Yeah.
belonging.
Exactly.
So having all these, pain points, what should companies look for in selecting wellness vendors or EAP packages?
Mhm.
Make it really to connect, to hit the spot, to be culturally competent, in your opinion, personal
Yeah.
opinion.
In my personal opinion, I this is going to sound like a broken record, but it really is to understand the people who work in your organization. Like, really, again, culture encompasses a lot, and the needs that people have, mental wellness. It takes different forms, right? There isn't one size fits all. So it really is, who are your people? What are your demographics? Who are the people who work within the context of your organization? Because what you really want to do is almost like tailoring it to the people who are in your industry, who are
Mhm.
in your organization. What are the pain points and what are the different ways of addressing that pain point? But it starts like anything else that you do. Like, I one of my favorite topics is design thinking. And what I so appreciate about design thinking is that there's a lot of time spent in the beginning really watching how people work and engage within a particular environment, so that whatever you design for people, right, is reflective of their lived experience. It's not just a hypothesis in your head, you looking from afar. It really is like taking a microscope, like this is my science background, and looking at this ecosystem to really understand it. Like, the best design comes from understanding your people and understanding your market. If you don't have that, then I don't.
Dancing with you. Oh, thank you. That understanding. I can't highlight that enough.
Yeah. It's so key. And I think understanding requires a certain amount of humility, right? Like, really, I don't know. I don't have
Absolutely.
the answers. I'm not the expert. That's why I'm having this conversation with you. That's why I'm taking the time to have the conversation with you. So you can look at the vendors, but does the vendor really address the needs of the people in your organization? That's first and foremost, I think.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so there are a lot of new startups. Young people are coming out of college. They have ambitions. They want to be entrepreneurs. They
Mhm.
have all these ideas. They create, new startups, small businesses.
Yeah.
What would you tell them as, an experienced businesswoman? How would you guide them? I know you were part of One World Girl, and I salute you for that. You're definitely an advocate for young women and women,
Yeah.
um, powering women.
Yeah.
But for the young generations, what would be your message?
What I always say is do what you genuinely love to do. Like it has to be a passion. Like you have to eat, sleep, and drink it. It has to be something that comes from your soul. The happiest people, the people I love being around the most are those where their fire literally comes out of them. Like they shine so bright, and you know that that light comes from inside of them because they have a higher meaning, a higher purpose. They're in integrity, they are being authentic to themselves, and there's a sense of mission, there's a sense of purpose. And if you have that, the sky is the limit, and the world needs more of that. We need to see people shine. The world needs your shine more than anything. And Fury, I would turn the question to you as you
Shine, my
please. I mean, you shine bright, and and getting to know you, I'm appreciating that that shine comes from your absolute certainty in your purpose and why you're here, and it came from your own experience. It was birthed inside of you as a response to what you saw in the world, like
friend.
taking your pain, taking your angst, taking your disappointment, and turning it into something that is beautiful and creative and that will really help people. Because I think at the end of the day, we all want to contribute, whether we're consciously aware of it or not.
Yeah.
Humans are wired to be helpful to each other. Whenever there's a national disaster, what do you hear over and over again? You hear of humans really stepping up to help each other. It's almost like we're wired to do that. It's just instinctive. Sometimes you don't have to even think about it. And so whatever you do, make sure it's something that is authentically you, and that you, so that you have the energy, as a businesswoman, like there's ups and downs. Like look at the world is always changing. Something has to sustain you. That fire has to be fed over and over and over again. And where there's not an authenticity, where there's not integrity, where there's not passion, like true passion, then you don't have anything that you can build. And people respond to passion. We're always responding to energy and frequency. That's what it comes down to. I am attracted to you because there's an energy that you bring my way that I just want more of. So that's what I always say. Like, what do you love to do? Really?
Same here. Same here. So I appreciate that. Thank you so much. That really moved me.
Mhm.
Uh, Oprah often says, teaching your skills to next generation is the best legacy you can leave.
Absolutely.
And you call yourself a perennial student. What's
Mhm.
something you're learning right now that excites you and challenges you also at the same time?
Well, speaking of mental health, right? I've embarked on this group therapy journey, and I am learning things about myself. I am learning things about the importance of our foundational childhood years and how they form the foundation of who we are. That's just blowing my mind and really exciting me as I am the proud aunt of a 6-year-old niece. I am part of her village, and it gives me such joy to be able to learn
Yeah.
to do things differently than my parents did, differently than their parents did, and their parents, and to change, if you will, generational trauma in a way that allows my niece to really go out in the world and believe in herself. Like
Oh,
for me, the goal is no more Me Too. no more. That's gone. And I think a lot of that has to do with how we parent and how, the ecosystem that we create for our children, our
Yeah.
girls and our boys. So I am enjoying learning about what it takes to really pour into and craft a healthy human being who will make a positive contribution to our world.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I feel the same way with my son.
Mhm.
Absolutely. I agree with you 120%. So, one myth about DEI
Mhm.
or mental health you wish people would let go of.
Yeah. Well, one myth applies to both, and that it isn't one size fit all. For
No.
diversity, equity, and inclusion, and for culture, it is not one size fits all. That's part of the challenge we're having right now with the backlash, with or the difficulties and the challenges with diversity, equity, and inclusion, is that there really isn't this one definition for all organizations, which causes confusion, right? But also an opportunity, because you get to tailor it to your context, to your organization. So there
Yeah.
is never one size fits all. That's what diversity really means. It's difference. That's what it is.
And welcoming it.
And
That's,
welcoming it.
yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Hmm. Hmm.
Uh, So my son had a teacher. I'm going
Hmm.
back to second grade,
Hmm.
and he said something so I love I so admire teachers, and I
Hmm.
think they're so important in child's development as important as parents.
Yeah.
So he said that if we were all the same, world would have been a boring place. I mean, he
Mhm.
made it so simple for the second graders to understand. And I was volunteering there, and I was like, oh my god, that kind of like resonated with me. And to this day, my son is 23, grown and flown, but to this day, that I always carry that in my heart.
Yeah.
So, one practice that brings you personal peace or mental clarity. I know you shared your, group, sessions, but something that you do in your me time and that, centers you. Would you like to share that with us?
Certainly. Being in nature, honestly, hiking, being in the woods, touching a tree. I'm a admitted tree hugger. I nature replenishes me. Even when I was working in the office in New York City, of all places, I would just go out for my lunch, go to the nearest park, go look at a river, look up at the sky. I mean, I needed touch a tree. I need to have contact with the natural world in some way, shape, or form, literally every day. If I don't, I literally can feel my energy draining from me. It's so critical.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. I lived in Manhattan for 5 years, and although there aren't a lot of parks,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
there are some good ones. And I
Yes,
would
yes,
do the same
yes.
thing. I would just go and immerse myself in nature, whatever I
Mhm.
could find, and flowers, trees, whatever.
Yeah,
And I'm a tree hugger too. I'm admitting, not just only we can't say just only the Californians are tree
indeed.
huggers. I mean,
Exactly.
those people, we are tree huggers too.
For sure. For
And,
sure.
a lot of East Coast, individuals have asthma, and
For
as a
sure.
result of all the trees that we have here, we have other,
Yeah.
breathing problems and allergies and so on and so forth. But
Mhm.
I am definitely a tree hugger, and I am proud of that. It
So much.
centers me. And then they talk about in psychology, they talk about the five senses, right? It
Mhm.
really matters. It really, touching the leaves, or
Yeah.
smelling the flowers, or
Mhm.
feeling the heat on your skin. These are
Mhm.
all things that make us humans humans. It
Exactly.
brings that goodness out from us, and I understand completely, and I feel that. So, what gives you hope for the future of inclusive workplaces or inclusivity overall?
our children, honestly, like the young, the millennials, the Gen Zs, my little 6-year-old niece. I feel like they are different. Their experiences are different. I feel like even genetically they're different. You know, we know in epigenetics that our environment affects the expression of our genes and our phenotype. And so I just sense there's a difference. For them, diversity is like air. It's like breathing. So that's what gives me hope. I think also I sense a change just in our humanity, that everything that's going on is about things shifting and changing. And in the beginning, change is never easy.
Yeah.
um, we humans, there's a certain amount of stability that we favor, like our even our nervous system and our brain is wired like, oh my goodness, if there's a change, we alert, we do what we can to avert it because it's the unfamiliar, right? So it's to be understood. But yeah, it's when I look in my niece's eyes, when I talk to the younger generation, I look into their souls and I say, you get it. That those of us who are a little bit older, maybe not. That's just the way it is. But one of the things that stays with me from my love of biology, my background of biology, is that everything changes, everything evolves, and ultimately, that evolution is for betterment. That evolution is for advance, whether we
Want
see
it
it,
or not.
whether we want it or not. Like the larger earth of which we are a part. Like humanity is not a separate from that. We're part of it. We're participants in it. We're shaping it as much as it's shaping us. And I feel like that shift is towards ever more diversity. That's what nature is. That's what it's all about. Always changing, always experimenting, always shifting. And there's richness to that. And so I'm excited for that. And that's what gives me hope.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. That means a lot. That means a lot. So, if you could leave our audience with one seed for reflection, what would it be?
Ooh, that's a big one. I know thyself, really. I think it goes back. I think that's what I feel like that's the underpinning of mental health and ultimate happiness, is to really know who you are, know all your parts, right? And welcome all your parts, have compassion for yourself, have love for yourself. And then from that place, you're able to emanate that out into the world. It all starts with you. So know yourself, nourish yourself, have compassion for yourself, take care of yourself, right? That's me time.
I love your green jacket, by the way. You're channeling me time today. I love it.
I am like, really take time to be with yourself, to care for yourself, to resource yourself, to fill yourself up, and take advantage of like whatever your organization offers. Take advantage to the extent that it resonates for you, but take care of yourself. We're living in a time of turbulence. We're living in a time of burnout. Take care of yourself, please.
Yes. And I definitely support that 100%. So, to our audience who are listening, please leave your comments. I see them coming in, and leave your, if you have any questions, raise your hand. We'll take it. Also, leave some ideas for everyone who's in this session to give us ideas about, what your workplace is offering that's different and culturally sensitive and kind of makes sense to you and brings your better self out. So we welcome those ideas to add to our own toolboxes, right? Wherever we go. So the more we hear, the more we connect, and that's how we belong, right,
Yes.
to our communities, and we can feel that we're part of those communities. So,
Mhm.
Berlane, do you have any questions for me?
I would love to hear from you. What brings you joy? What brings you happiness? What drives you?
Yes. Well, I have to tell you, every day is different. It's,
Mhm, mhm,
when I wake up, it's my ritual. I meditate every day. I love that. time that I spent with myself and with my thoughts. I try not to have a lot of thoughts, but they come, and then you process them. But what brings me joy is, the accomplishments that I complete during that day.
Mhm.
Every day brings us new challenges or new opportunities, right? And
Mhm.
I take it day by day, and
Mhm.
I try not to overwhelm myself as a business owner and as a startup owner. Sometimes
Mhm.
it's hard. It's very, very hard, and it's very lonely, right?
Mhm.
There is
Mhm.
a place. So, but I find, on my daily routine, I find moments that I reflect. Uh,
Mhm.
I go out. I try to go out and immerse myself in nature.
Yeah.
Nature really is a great teacher.
Mhm. Mhm.
A great teacher, and Mother Nature teaches me every day.
Yeah.
And yeah, it teaches me resilience. It
Yeah.
teaches me to keep shining.
Mhm. Mhm.
Teaches me that there are good days and bad days. Sometimes bad days keep coming,
Yes.
but
Mhm.
there's always, sunshine the next day. And yeah, that teaches me to be hopeful.
Indeed.
And I think I learn a lot from my son.
Mm. Mhm. Mhm.
He's from a different generation. He has great ideas. He's interning at Me Time Healing right now with me. So,
Good.
he has such great ideas, and he has such a good heart. I feel very fortunate to be his mother. And
Mhm.
when I see him, I feel like I've done something right.
Yes.
If I didn't do everything, wrong, if I did everything wrong, I did
Yes.
one thing right. And
Indeed.
yeah, he gives me joy every day. Is his accomplishments. And yeah, and being a founder, being part of a mental health community,
Mhm.
the mental health,
Yeah.
the stigmas that we go through, the loneliness that people go through, the burnouts that everyone in workplaces these days they experience, tackling these issues,
Mhm.
providing compassionate, and accessible mental health platform is my mission in life. uh,
Indeed.
and I want to make it available, affordable, and accessible to everyone, not just the high earners. So
Mhm.
try my best to make that inclusivity and improve our product every day
Indeed.
with cultural diversities and with hearing back from our clients and improving our product. Just like you said, it cannot never be one-sided. You have to
Mhm.
keep hearing from your community to improve yourself, to improve your message, to improve your product. So I'm very um, fortunate to be at this point, at where I am right now.
Indeed. And we're fortunate too. We're fortunate that you created Me Time. And as we celebrate and recognize BIPOC Mental Health Awareness Month, I am just so honored that you created what you created to help to address some of the barriers, um, financial and otherwise, to all groups seeking the mental health care that they need. So thank you for being bold and courageous and creating something of significant value for us all.
Thank you. We have a question from Dennis.
Mhm.
Uh, this has been incredibly insightful so far. Gurlane, could you share what you've seen as a typical blind spot leaders might have when they try to address stigma in diverse teams?
Oh, a blind spot. Well, I'll say this again. Privilege creates blind spots, and that's true for all of us. And so that's where humility comes to the fore, to really admit that you don't know, to really not make assumptions, but to ask. And one of the purposes I always saw for employee resource groups was really to address that blind spot, if it's allowed, right? For people to say, hey, look, this is our experience. So
Yeah.
you don't know, but there's a resource that will help you to know. So blind spots, I think, are um, they can be addressed. So you are making a choice as a leader.
Yeah.
You're aware of your blind spot. You either want to continue to have a blind spot because it may be too much to be aware, or you're aware of it and you're choosing to address it.
Yeah.
So there is always information if you want it. I mean, it's to first be conscious that we all have blind spots, each one of us. And so that's part of the gift of inclusivity, right? Having conversations and being able, and it goes back to psychological trust as well, too. Like, I'm going to share my experience with you to the extent that I feel that I can trust you, to the extent that I feel that you're going to do something about it, to the extent that I feel that you care, right? So it goes back to what you said, Fury, in terms of creating a culture that says in word and action, yes, I do care what you have to say. Yes, I do care your perspective and what your needs are. Yes, I do have a blind spot, and that's why I welcome you to share your story. Help me to see what I can't see. That's
Oh,
what I would say. I hope that's helpful.
oh,
Um,
definitely. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I appreciate that. So another question for you, Gurlane. Ready?
mhm.
It's coming from Olivia Ermshaw. She says, such an insightful session. Gurlane, as a DEI leader, how do you see the role of companies like MeTime in helping organizations create more culturally sensitive and supportive environments
Mhm.
for mental health?
Indeed. I mean, for me, me time is an invaluable resource. It really is in terms of in terms of being deliberate about cost and making it accessible to all, and in terms of being very deliberate and intentional about diverse therapies to ensure that people have the option to choose to work with a mental health provider that feels comfortable for them. I mean, at the basis of successful mental health care is that feeling of trust, that feeling of resonance, that feeling of comfort. Because if you don't have that, if you don't even see the possibility of that, then you're not likely to seek mental health. So I think that me time really fulfills a very unique niche in what employers can offer to their employees. And again, it goes back to the research that you did and knowing your organization and knowing the needs of the people who work to make your company great. So paying attention to their needs, and to the extent that their needs are addressed by me time, then I see a connection being made. It seems like a pretty obvious choice based on the needs of your organization. Mhm.
Thank you for the vote of confidence. I appreciate that. Coming from you it means a lot. Thank you so much for joining me today. Uh,
Absolutely.
and I truly enjoyed speaking with you. Your energy, your light
Thank,
shine,
thank you.
and it made it so much fun. And I want to continue this, Gurlane. We have to have more of these sessions. We need to we need to learn a lot more from you with all the experience yet that you bring to light, and I truly appreciate it. And with that, do you want to say one last thing that to stay? Oh, there's another question. Thank you so
Okay.
much for this great conversation. Sometimes being hired for diversity can actually feel more exhausting than empowering. I'm curious,
Yeah.
when companies offer therapy or mental health support internally, How safe and helpful is it really? Or should we seek support outside to truly feel protected and heard? That's interesting.
Ooh, that is a beautiful question. Thank you for asking. I think it goes back to knowing yourself and trusting yourself. Like I only you can answer that. I feel I'm learning more and more that all the answers are inside of us. And if you like when we talk about um, what fills us, what resources us, when we talk about self-care, what self-care really is about is then allowing you to be able to hear yourself, allowing you to access your gut, your instincts, your intuition that tells you naturally, okay, I can safely move towards this, or maybe not. Like listen to your intuition. That's what I can say. If there's a doubt, if there's a question, then investigate that within yourself. But that is your work to do. That is your work, to sit quietly, to really listen, because the body will always tell you. That's what it's built for. Our bodies are about survival, and
And
it will
self-care is not selfish, right? Self-care,
exactly. Self-care is
self,
not
especially for us women. I mean, we need
yeah,
to keep telling that to ourselves.
exactly.
We have to take
Exactly.
care of ourselves.
You
It,
do. You do. You
it's
do have to take care of yourself. Yeah.
yeah. That was
Because
a that
yeah.
was a great question. It hit the nail where yes.
Yeah, great question. Like, please take care of yourself and trust yourself to the extent that you can. That's a journey too. I think that one of the things I'm learning is that one of the consequences of trauma is a bit of numbness, right? Trauma is really like frozen parts of us. And where there's that numbness, then it's difficult to really access one's intuition. And so
Yeah.
that's where self-care, you can kind of begin to melt some of that, so you can access your intuition, your true self, your true guiding light that will lead you accordingly. That's what I would say. But what a beautiful and delicate and tender question. Thank you for asking it.
Meaningful journey, right? We all want to have a meaningful journey. We all want to
Indeed.
leave something behind, something that is
Yes.
meaningful. And
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
all these lights, when they come together, is
Yeah.
being together, being part of a community and shine together means a
In-
lot. Means a lot.
Indeed. Yeah. Community is key.
Absolutely. Let's leave it at that.
Yes.
Well,
Indeed.
thank you so much for joining me today again, and all these wonderful questions and all the thumbs up coming from your community and my community members. I truly appreciate everyone for being here, being part of our discussion, contributing to our discussion and to our mission. And Gorlaine, keep in touch. We're gonna do great things together.
Indeed. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Have a wonderful day.
Thank
Enjoy
you.
the rest of your hot summer.
Very hot. Very hot. Yeah. Thank you.
Take care. Bye bye.